What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Today we're going to be talking about Glock and what is going on with Glock. So let's jump into it and talk about their anti-gun stance and why I think they have that anti-gun stance. Mr. Vinro, can you just make your own pistol, please, and sell it to me? That's all I ask. That's Jordan Vinro of Gideon Optics, who makes some great optics. In fact, I have Uh, maybe I don't have it right here, but I do have a mediator. Jumped to the floor. This is I just replaced this. I got to put this on my other gun here, but this is not a mediator. This is their judge, their original judge. Um, and it is a RMSC footprint. It's a great optic. I'm going to mount that on one of my other optics. All right. So today we're going to be talking about Glock. You guys have probably seen the news already. I've been busy planning to destroy someone's political aspirations, but we'll get into that some other time. But while I was doing that, Glock released a letter basically calling for gun control. The gun control that they are calling for is you will sell me something, Jordan. You just won't know it. Actually, a gun. Can't really do that. But no, Glock's calling for a gun control, and the part of gun control they're calling it for it on is MCDs, machine gun conversion devices, specifically the Glock switch. A Glock switch attaches to the back of a Glock where the back plate is, and causes the gun to be able to be turned into a machine gun. According to federal statute, any device that converts a semi-automatic firearm into an automatic firearm itself is considered a machine gun. Therefore, it's regulated under the NFA, $200 tax stamp and stuff like that. But there's something called the Hughes Amendment, which says you cannot register any new machine guns that was made after early 1986. So we cannot add any new machine guns to the registry. What is interesting is that these devices, because of that, are already illegal. But Glock is pushing states to ban them themselves, which is making something illegal doubly illegal. It's kind of like double secret probation. If you guys watch Animal House, I don't know if you guys have seen that, but double secret probation. There's been a lot of questions as to why Glock all of a sudden took this anti-gun stance, and I think I know why. There is a lot of laws that are going through different states to try to ban Glocks because they're easily convertible with Glock switches, a device that's already illegal. There's also a lot of lawsuits that are suing Glock for being easily convertible with Glock switches. So I think the letter that they released calling for the ban of Glock switches, we know they're already banned, is a legal strategy to try to head off some of these lawsuits and to be used as evidence that Glock is trying to stop the proliferation of these Glock switches. These Glock switches can be bought on a bunch of Chinese websites, and they're still available on Alibaba and Wish and everything else like that. You just got to know what to search for. So, what is happening is a lot of these gangbangers in inner cities are importing a bunch of these switches and reselling them, or even 3D printing them. But um, Glock is trying to get ahead of this by saying, "Hey, we are taking proactive actions to try to stop the proliferation of these devices." And they're going to use this letter as a example of the steps that they are taking to try to cut back on the existence of Glock switches. If these states take Glock advice and they ban these devices, it's not going to make a difference. They're already illegal under federal law because none were made before 1986, and it does not stop them from being imported or sold. So these state laws are going to do nothing. And I believe Glock knows that as well. and this is just a legal maneuver. Now, here comes the question: should Glock be forgiven for taking this anti-gun stance? I don't think that they should. They absolutely should not. They are putting profits above the rights of people. And even though this is trying to save the company a lot of money in lawsuits, they are willing to sacrifice the American gun owner for that and to pass stupid laws. They're probably going to argue since it's already illegal, no one's going to be affected by it. But let's say one day that the NFA does get overturned or taken out by the courts. Now you have to attack all these state laws individually. So even though that if these states pass these anti-Glock switch laws or whatever, it's not going to make a difference right now. In the future, it might. But they are trying to head off anti-Glock legislation and anti-Glock lawsuits. They're in a tough place, I would say. But in that tough place, they decided to sell out the American gun owner. That's really all I have to say about that. That is just my opinion. I don't know if that's the real reason why Glock did it. I don't have any insight to their legal strategy, but I believe that that's the most likely reason why they sent the letter, because they must have known that there was going to be a lot of blowback from the pro gun community. Also, Glock has a major share of the firearms market. So I think they think that they can survive that because not everyone who owns a gun, I would say the vast majority of people who own guns don't pay attention to what is going on behind the scenes like you or me. All right. So, yep, that is basically it. Just wanted to give you an update and not to make excuses for Glock, but I wanted to put out the reason why they are probably doing that. But whatever. All right, guys, that is it. And with that, we are out of here. Stay ever vigilant. Stay ever free. Oh, about David Warrington. Hold on. Thoughts about David Warrington being the counsel for the rare breed and the New York litigation, becoming the White House counsel. Rumor is that's how rare breed got their settlement language to benefit them only. David Warrington was is tied to rare breed, but he's tied to rare breed through NAGR. NAGR is the National Association for Gun Rights, and they have partnered up with Rare Breed versus ATF, where the settlement came from, Rare Breed versus Garland, where the settlement came from, and AGR versus Garland, I guess, is the actual case name. But that's how he is tied to Rare Breed. Whether they use that connection to get the settlement or not, I don't know. But the settlement did definitely just benefit them and no one else. Um, yeah, he was counsel because he was the lawyer for NAGR, and NAGR and Rare Breed are attached at the hip. So yeah, he was the counsel and the Eastern District of New York. I'm just saying that's how he became their counsel, is because of the connection with NAGR. So I don't know if the settlement had anything to do with him or he had any say behind the scenes on it. I just don't have that information. It's possible, but I don't have any proof of that, and I would need to see hard evidence of that before I can go out on a limb and say that's exactly what happened. But who knows? Everyone is free to make up their own mind. But yeah, yeah, Stephen, yeah, Stephen Stambolia is doing a FOIA, so it's going to be interesting to see what exactly comes back on that. That will definitely give proof. If you haven't checked out Steven Stambolia Law, you can go to 2A Law on YouTube. That is Steven. He is a freaking fantastic gun rights attorney, and he's represented me a couple times in the past. So yeah, and he does awesome FOIA work as well. All right, guys, that's it. So I will see you guys later. Have a good night. I will be on tomorrow sometime talking about something. And then after that, this weekend I'll be out of town. So I doubt I will be on until Monday, but who knows? Maybe I will. If something breaks, I'm sure I will. The Hank Train curse, right?